All right, let's get started here. Welcome everyone to the latest webinar on the 3M Novec transition webinar with regards to 30 days out from the last order. So we're going to provide some guidance on the Novec fluids today and supply chain availability, as well as some replacement options for those looking to replace the Novec fluid once the last order is taken and fulfillments are finished. So welcome everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Since we talked last, looks like there's a few friendly faces here in the room, and good to see you, our current customers, checking out the latest news. Looks like there's a few of our colleagues in the industry and some competitors. Welcome as well. Glad that we can provide you with updated information as well. This industry is small enough that we want to make sure everyone's informed. I'm Mike Bangasser, president of Best Technology. My background's in medical device manufacturing and process development. All of that, what we do here at Best Technology and surface finishing equipment and chemicals is tailored around custom solutions for regulated industries such as the medical device industry, aerospace, semiconductor. And the reason when I say custom is those applications typically require stringent regulatory requirements, and having a customized solution makes it much easier for process development, process stability, and long-term reliability of these processes. So we have expertise in this area. Best Technology is really seen as a subject matter expert in manufacturing, and we are the largest Novec distributor in the United States. We're proud to say that we worked really hard working hand in hand with 3M through the last 10, 12 years with the Novec product. And we're proud to say that we have a great relationship with them. As a matter of fact, we just literally got done with a conference call about 20 minutes ago with them. So we have the latest information that we can provide today. Great to have everyone here. Let's get started. So we'll go over the Novec phase outs today with regards to last order updates, the current supply updates. As I always say, pun intended, it's a very fluid situation. It really has changed in the last 2.5 years since the announcement was released. There's been all kinds of changes with regards to fluids being phased out early, supply being pulled in, supply being pushed out, etc. So it has really moved around a lot, and it's required us to be in constant contact with 3M to make sure we can satisfy the supply needs of our customers. So we really want to understand, or have our customers understand, managing this phase out with highly regulated industries. It's not like you can just put a new fluid in your system and not have to do anything as far as validation with regards to regulated industries, and we understand that. So we have an approach for the transition for our customers, and we'll go through all of that today. So with regards to the transition approach, we have replicated all of the 3M Novec fluids into a product line called BestSolv, and we'll go into the three types of fluids that we have. A drop-in replacement, which offers a significant cost reduction to the Novec fluids. We have an exact Novec molecule of the HFE molecule from the Novec line, which also offers a nice decrease in operational cost. And then we have next generation PFAS-free fluids for those customers looking to move to the next fluid. They look at this phase out and say, you know, if we have to change, we might as well change to the newest generation and move on from PFAS. We have that option too. Then we'll just talk about some new releases and updates in fluids and development here at Best Technology, and we'll end with some Q&A. So I want to first make sure that everyone's aware of that this discontinuation or phase out is voluntary from 3M. They weren't forced to do it. There's no safety concerns with their product. There's no EPA regulatory phase outs scheduled. Basically, this is stemming from the 1950s and 1980s of PFAS generation at their manufacturing sites throughout the United States and world that has caused some groundwater contamination issues and others, that 3M has just decided that manufacturing and continuing to manufacture PFAS isn't the direction they want to have for the business. Now, when we say manufacturing PFAS, that means the manufacturing sites is where these issues happened. It's not that the use of their current fluids has any safety risks or disposal risks of any kind. It's the disposal of byproducts during manufacturing that has caused these issues. So once again, there's no safety concerns on using these Novec HFEs or even the PF and FCs, kind of their older generations of product. So once again, just kind of to summarize a little bit deeper, there's no regulatory phase out. So if there was a regulatory phase out, as you can see in bullet point B there, it typically takes 5 to 15 years before the EPA were to announce it to have an official phase out on a solvent of this mass used kind, as well as technology wise, technology of chemical innovation hasn't really moved forward enough to warrant a phase out into something that's better for the environment, better for employees. This product is quite safe for employee exposure as well as for the environmental end with regards to evaporation and disposal and such. So with that, we've really worked hard at Best Technology to raise public awareness on the differences of PFAS chemicals because the media has generalized PFAS as a really bad thing. And in some instances it is in long chain PFAS and how it's disposed of and the exposures for humans and others to it. But these PFAS that are from the Novec HFE line are short chain PFAS and are a totally different generation than the ones that are really causing the trouble that the media is reporting. So we've worked super hard in teaching our customers the differences between them. And certainly I want to raise awareness even on this webinar once again to drive that home that there's differences in PFAS. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call. We're happy to talk through them. We've done a ton of research in developing these replacements, and we really understand the different types of PFAS pretty well. So also, as I mentioned, it's a voluntary phase out. So that's good and bad. That's good in the sense that, yeah, you don't have to stop using it. It's bad in the sense if you want to look at the supply chain risk. Because 3M is deciding to voluntarily phase it out, they technically can stop their manufacturing at any point. They've said that through 2025, they hope to have deliveries of product, and that will be the discontinuation date. But we've been seeing disruptions in certain products already, and certainly differences in lead times as this phase out announcement was announced in late 2022 and as things have moved on. So we'll share an update with regards to the current supply chain, but we've seen raw material supply have issues for 3M on top of their own production demands and trying to meet that demands with diminished employee base based on that phase out. Of course, it's a voluntary phase out, so naturally 3M is trying to get out of the marketplace by taking care of the customers the best they can. But as a business and any business would do, they're trying to save costs too. So while they're trying to take care of people, they also have let quite a few people go in manufacturing and in the overall support staff at 3M in the Novec line, and that has caused extended lead times in the delivery of some of their products. So we have a transition plan that we've been sharing vocally ever since the Novec was announced. And we'll go through that in a little bit more detail here in a second. And then we'll talk about these long-term options with scientific innovation. But first and foremost, we really want to address that supply chain risk for our customers. So let's talk about that a little bit. March 31st, 2025, 3M set this date last year as this will be the last order date. They've already phased out some products already. In October 15th of last year, they had a phase out of some of the products. I believe 3283 was announced at that point as well. So this last order date seems like, most companies are saying, okay, well, as long as we have our order in by then, that's great. The problem is the 3M has vocally said this is a voluntary phase out, that order submission doesn't guarantee it will be fulfilled. They're fulfilling them in, first out, but with the caveat that the DPAS orders, so the Department of Defense has priority, legal priority over all orders. And a lot of people don't understand that in different industries, that DPAS orders, not only do they take legal precedence on what's coming off the manufacturing line, but any supply that 3M has in their facility, they legally, according to US law, have to fulfill those orders first. As a matter of fact, if we have product in our distribution warehouses, we have to even fill those too. So, what we're trying to tell people is get your order in as soon as you can. That still won't guarantee it, especially now that we're 30 days until the the deadline for last orders. But certainly if the Department of Defense is placing their orders at the very end, knowing their DPAS orders can trump, hopefully we can get some orders in line and get those out. So with regards to products that are already discontinued, a lot of their FC products, especially 3283, which was quite popular for 3M, has already been phased out. That manufacturing had to get brought over from Belgium over to Cordova, Illinois, and that has been phased out already. 7100 DL, 7200 DL are really high purity, neat products, and those were phased out just due overall to low demand and low volume and the amount of requirements that it took to purify those fluids. 7300 and 73DE actually have already been phased out due to raw material shortages. So that kind of tells you right there, 3M tried to plan ahead as good as they could. Raw material shortages due to yields in manufacturing and incoming raw material fell short, and they simply just stopped making them. It's not like they anticipated it. They couldn't have really announced it, and certainly once they announced it, people were quite shocked, especially because 73DE is a fairly popular product in the vapor degreasing cleaning industry. So 7500, which is used fairly heavily in semiconductor cooling, and 71 IPA, which essentially is isopropyl alcohol with a flame inhibitor into it, was also discontinued, and I believe the last order of that was last October. So we're seeing that some of those orders are being fulfilled, and a lot of them aren't being able to be fulfilled, even in the ones that were discontinued without raw material shortages. Let's look at the PF and FC line then. We've got FC40, which is a pretty popular product, 70, 72, and 770. Some of the thermal ranges are overlapping in those products. What's nice about it is the thermal ranges in those products overlap with Novec 7100, 7200, and 7300. So those are more readily available in product supply. 7100 being one of the most popular products on the neat fluids from 3M. And of course, that's mixed in 71DE, 71DA, 72DE, and the most popular 72DA. So those two fluids in the neat line are essential in order to get those other blends that are listed below. If those run out of raw material supply, certainly 3M isn't going to be able to fulfill the blend orders, but of course they're not able to fulfill the neat. Because of that specific issue and instance is the reason that we developed the whole replacement line, knowing that the amount of demand that's used of just the neat fluids of 7100 and 7200 for thermal cooling and semiconductor manufacturing, that could be the first thing that has a run on demand, and 3M won't be able to meet that demand with supply. And the resulting end would be the majority of vapor degreasing cleaning applications would not be able to continue use with the 3M product before the phase out. So we've been really aware of this. We've been talking to 3M. I want to reiterate that the supply chain is varying as of today. They're 90 to 120-day lead times. We're looking out into the summer right now. 3M is also kind of vocalized a bit that they hope to have final orders fulfilled by late summer. So I know they said 2025, but they're also looking to possibly be done with whatever they can make by summer. And if you do your math right, if you get your order in the end of March, that doesn't equal out to the lead times that they're forecasting of up to nearly 6 months. So the fact of getting your order in is definitely not going to guarantee fulfillment by the March 31st deadline. So with those lead times and the variations that we're seeing in various products, knowing that the blended fluids, the cleaning fluids, take additional manufacturing capacity and resources, the blended fluids may be the ones that really get diminished in quantity availability first, knowing that the raw material can be sold as a neat fluid without having to put additional material into it and additional resources into it. So with that, that's really the update we have as of about a half hour ago. Really important to understand that 7300, 73D are already diminished, and they're not able to fulfill those orders. There's quite a few orders that were in. We have been able to fulfill those orders with our product, which we'll get into, which is BestSolv 73DE and BestSolv 7300, which are the exact same molecule as the Novec fluid. So we're able to help our customers out. They may not have envisioned having to switch so soon, but we're able to help them out. And we also get a nice compliment and smile from them when they hear there's a significant price decrease in those fluids in the BestSolv line versus Novec. So it could be worse where they're left hanging without nothing. We have fluid for them, and they're able to see an operational decrease in operational cost. So let's talk about the replacement plan itself with regards to Best Technology and how we've navigated this with our customers. We've been in the solvent and aqueous chemical business since the 1990s when you had Freons being phased out, you had AK-225 coming through and invented, and then you had the HFEs from 3M. So we've been through these phase outs. Those have been EPA mandated phase outs. We really haven't seen a voluntary phase out from a manufacturer, especially one that has so much market share like 3M does in their Novec fluids. So we've been through them. This one's a little bit different. We approached this whole situation a little bit differently in how we're addressing the phase out itself. And instead of rolling ourselves to another manufacturer and being dependent on one singular manufacturer for our replacement fluids, we decided to come out with our own line and have it multi-sourced. So we're able to control the supply chain a lot better than our customers being kind of committed to one vendor with one source of fluid itself. So we're proud to say that we've grew our business to be the largest distributor of 3M in the United States. If you reach out to 3M today, they're sending most of their orders, even from their direct customers to distributors. So you'll be most likely referred to us. Our applications engineers would be happy to help you with any transitional fluids last orders, as well as educating you on new fluid availability that's out there. So we also feel one great thing about 3M was the quality that they had in their Novec fluids. In all the years of us working with them, we've never had a quality issue where we've shipped product and it's contaminated or it breaks down, thermal decomposition, etc. They make a really good quality product. And for us to come out with replacements, we said we need to have those same standards. So the certificates of analysis all have the same properties that are monitored. All of our incoming supply is monitored even before it's blended or before it's put into final packaging. But every lot goes through an ISO facility for incoming product control testing, and of course, what the customer receives, which is your certificate of analysis that you're used to receiving from 3M. All those standards have been replicated in these replacement products. As I mentioned at the beginning of this webinar, our primary customers are in these regulated industries, which require extensive testing and validation before the switch can happen. And then once they have the testing done internally, they've got to report whatever testing results that they have to regulatory bodies, and that also takes time. So we've been engaging with our customers for going on 2.5 years now. With regards to these replacement fluids. Many of them have transitioned and many of them are still in testing. So if you have not started testing, time is of the essence, of course, but we have a plan put together to help fast track you through that progress. So the options that we kind of set forth at the beginning as this announcement happened was stockpiling. We call it transitional inventory. It's a little nicer term than stockpiling, but where are we going to here? People are going to try to stockpile this stuff to buy them as much time as they can into the future before they have to move to another fluid, especially if they're behind the ball on getting testing done. What 3M said from the beginning is they were going to limit purchasing levels from the 2022 purchase levels to prevent a supply shortage. So you don't have one customer coming and buying up the entire supply, and then all their other customers sacrifice. So they have been abiding to that. And that's all the way back from 2022 when there was, before the announcement, of course, but before there was any supply chain bottleneck with regards to customers trying to stockpile fluid. So again, I put in 2 stars here. Order submission does not guarantee it will be fulfilled by 3M. So that's the first thing that we recommend people do. Talk to our applications engineers. We'll get the order in as quick as we can to 3M. We're managing our orders for our customers on a daily basis. It literally takes that level of detail. 3M is sending orders out in any fashion they can and trying to guide them on where our customers are really needing it before going down in manufacturing has aided 3M and ourselves in helping our customers not have that experience of going down in manufacturing. So the near-term solution is you got to stockpile, but then you got to get away from these fluids. So we wanted to target chemical alternatives using the same equipment. Because let's face it, facing the operational cost increase from 3M from the Novec fluid price increases over the last few years isn't something that's been easy, but to have a voluntary phase out happen and be forced to commit capital for capital equipment is not really in the business plans of most businesses that are using these fluids. These fluids are used for thermal cooling and cleaning. They're surface finishing processes that, yes, they do add value to the product itself, but certainly on a scale end, most people didn't plan on having to reinvest into manufacturing equipment to use these fluids in because a phase out happened. So that was like the number one goal for us, is to be able to use it in the same equipment. On the long term end, there is other equipment. Best Technology has been in the business for 30 years. We have other equipment that can utilize next generation fluids. We can look at aqueous type processes, etc. But of course, those all require capital investment. So if you're looking to replace equipment because it's old and you take it as the opportunity now that you're having to switch, talk to our equipment team and they can kind of guide you with the options that are out there. But what we're really focusing on the chemical business right now is on the using the chemicals in the same equipment that you have. And some of that also relies on some chemical innovation that needs to happen in chemical technology to look beyond the fluorinated fluids, look beyond the current mix of molecules that are invented out there of what's next. When 3M came out with the HFE Novec was truly innovative. Since then, there's been slight changes to molecules going from HFEs to HFOs, hydrofluoroolefins. That was somewhat transformational, but there needs to be something really large to move forward if fluorinated fluids are going to continue to be used, or if fluorinated fluids are going to be phased out. What is next that's going to provide a very stable molecule that doesn't thermally decompose, as well as can give the performance that these fluorinated fluids have given in so many applications that are vital to our economy and vital to um, uh, all kinds of different technology in military, aerospace, med device, etc. They're very dependent on fluorinated fluids for cleaning and for thermal cooling because of the stability levels of these products. So as I mentioned, and I won't go through too much more, but you got a supply chain risk. We identified that and we said, okay, if we're going to develop our own line called BestSolv, we really want to have multiple supply chains, multi-source material that we're in control of. So we don't experience supply chain issues like 3M did coming out of COVID. And then, of course, they're experiencing a bit now because of the voluntary phase out. We also said, hey, the operating costs of Novec fluid have increased significantly coming out of COVID. Let's see if we can decrease the cost. And as a matter of fact, we were able to decrease that cost by about 30% compared to similar Novec fluids. Some are even more. Our first line that we came out with actually is even costs much less than the current Novec fluids. So, and finally, we do want those customers to be able to use their current equipment. So an exact or drop-in molecule replacement was really important to us to identify that. So let's dive into the BestSolv fluids themselves. We're really proud to say not only we are the largest distributor of 3M Novec in the United States, we've been rated number one 3M Novec replacement as well. We've got the most R&D that went into developing these replacement fluids, and we have the most comprehensive 3M Novec replacement line as well. And we'll go through those, but every Novec fluid has been replicated as the exact molecule so that customers literally just have to switch from buying drums of 3M Novec as those supplies dry up and moving to BestSolv. There's no difference otherwise. All the physical properties are the same, all the CAS numbers are the same, etc. So we're really proud to announce that. There's no other company in the industry that has been able to come close to the product offering that we have. We do kind of attribute that to the close relationship we've had with 3M, knowing our customers' demand, what the demand's been and the supply challenges from 3M, knowing the amount of each fluid that is consumed in a given year, aided us in which ones that we did the most R&D on first to come out with those critical products. But as of this point, we have every Novec fluid developed right now as a replication. So we have the cleaning fluids. As I said, we have the exact molecule, which literally is the same CAS number, and we have a similar formulation, which also is a hydrofluoroether. It has very, very similar, if not identical or better cleaning performance than the Novec, but it has even better cost advantages. So as I mentioned before, reducing the operating cost by 30% has been fantastic. People love that when they find out they're having to be forced away from a discontinuation of a popular product. At least then they're able to realize the operational cost benefit here. Ease of validation, the physical characteristic of these fluids are identical to the 3M Novec. So you're able to put them in your current equipment. You clean out the current Novec that's in your vapor degreaser, and you're able to drop these fluids right in, whether they're similar or the exact molecule. Either one of them can be used in that same equipment by just doing a simple clean out of your vapor degreaser. And likewise, in thermal chilling applications, flushing those fluids out of the old stuff and introducing new allows you to transition just that easy. So on the thermal end, we heard our customers when we came out with our first line of replacements. They said, "Look, we need better thermal ranges. We need wider thermal ranges. We really, frankly, need the exact same formulation because we don't want to risk the expensive chillers and thermal cooling devices for data centers and such on some other material that may have been tested out pretty well, but we know the Novec HFEs were tested significantly during production in their environments, and so they wanted to stay with that. So we really found then, of course, more demand for these exact molecule replacements, and that's why in the thermal heat transfer fluids, that's why we have 7100, 7200, 7300, and coming soon 7500, which is a lot less demand product from 3M. 7100 is really the big one that most people are using for thermal chilling and semiconductor manufacturing. So we kind of said we have a proven process. If we had time, we'd really want to look at identifying the options. We'll get you the SDS and TDSs so you can compare. You can test the chemicals in your process, qualify them, and then move forward in implementing them. What we really did to make it super easy for you, since it's starting to get to be too late, we're 30 days out from last order, which apparently doesn't even mean that you're going to get fulfilled. There could be customers that are going to be running out of fluid that are not going to see a replacement of Novec before they have to transition. So we have some tables on our website. You literally match the chemical you're using to the BestSolv chemical. You can expedite testing and qualification because it's the exact same CAS number. So you know it's going to perform the same. It requires much less intensive validation and checkout processes. We're able to do testing for you here in our lab if necessary too. And then you can jump in and implement the BestSolv. It's not any more difficult than that, and that's why we really try to shrink it down for customers that call us in a panic and say, "Look, we're out of fluid. We can't get it from 3M." And when they hear it's 120-day lead time, they think that's bad enough. But when we tell them that's the last order they're going to have, then it's really an issue. They kind of say, "Well, we have to switch now." And we're able to do that very, very quickly, walking alongside our customers. So here's on the cleaning fluid end. It's a little bit busy of a slide here, but let me explain. We've got our exact molecules on the left. So you have all of the cleaning fluids offered by 3M and that lean, all those ratios are all identical. The intellectual property from Novec has expired from quite a while, so we were able to replicate those pretty easily. And we have the first line that we came out with that we call the drop-in replacements. They're not exact molecule. They perform very similar and in very similar physical properties as well exhibited, but they are a little bit different. So we call those drop-in replacement. We really can't call them exact because they're not exact. But these are even less in cost. So we like to highlight those. The most popular is Alpha and Bravo because they're replicating 72DA and 73DE. The other ones that you see here are also popular. They perform extremely well. Um, but the Alpha and Bravo have been some of the most popular ones. So something to note, or I guess I'll note it in a little bit, is some of the Boeing spec approvals that we've recently been approved for as well. So again, looking on the left, if you don't want to switch away from Novec because you don't want to go through the hassle of trying to find a different product and it kind of sort of maybe performs the same way as what you had, you just want the same performance, you literally just need to switch. So not only are we the largest distributor of 3M Novec, but we also have the full product line available for purchase now of the BestSolv line to help everyone through this transition. If we look at the thermal fluids, that's a little bit different lineup. As I said, our customers have really said we need the exact molecule. So while we have a similar molecule, the exact ones are what we've really concentrated further on. So we have 7100, 7200, and 7300. And to a lesser extent, 7500 has some demand. Another big one that's been demanded is the fluoroketone, the Novec 649. So we call that BestSolv Zulu. Novec 649 is for the immersion cooling business and marketplace and industry in data centers, etc. But it was also the same formulation that worked for 3M for their fire suppression in the Novec 1230. It's just a different purity level. So we have the Zulu, as we call it, FS for fire suppression. 3M also had a line that was for magnesium casting and shield gas, which is the Novec 612. We have that exact molecule as the Novec or as the BestSolv Zulu Mag. So you have all those covered with regards to immersion cooling. Of course, some of the Novec 7100, 7200, and 7300 are used in immersion cooling too. And chilling and cooling. And we've had a lot of customers that are requesting 3283 because of military spec apps that while that's an older generation fluid, it's still heavily used by the military, by the government, and some private entities that really need the same characteristics of vapor pressure, thermal physical characteristics as well. So we have that in the 3283 called BestSolv 3283. Again, these are the same CAS numbers. If you compare an SDS of Novec to the SDS of BestSolv, they are the same, which is really good from the EH&S standpoint for manufacturing facilities that are bringing these products in. Usually products that are allowed on a manufacturing floor are approved based on an SDS and approved based on the CAS numbers listed on the SDS. So it makes it even easier to even get samples into your manufacturing facility for doing testing with these same CAS numbers. Of course, as I mentioned here, we do have drop-in replacements available, specifically the BestSolv Sierra. But again, our customers have really wanted to focus on these exact molecule products. Let's talk a little bit further of, hey, this is an opportunity if we're forced to phase out from a fluid and discontinuation. Can we look at some PFAS-free replacements? Absolutely. So the PFAS-free replacements that we have is BestSolv Omega. It is a better cleaner as far as more aggressive cleaner than 72DA and 73DE. Does an absolutely excellent job. It still has a little bit of cost savings from Novec, even though it's a PFAS-free fluid. And then we have BestSolv Zeta, which is the neat version of Omega. And Zeta can be used for cleaning applications as well because it still is slightly chlorinated, as well as in some cooling applications. On the thermal fluid end, we got 7500. That actually is a PFAS, but it's a new development that we've had here that we've been working on to try to get supply in, and that's coming soon. As I mentioned, the BestSolv Zeta, um, and BestSolv 3283. And again, the 3283 is an older product from 3M, and it is considered a PFAS. So, what do we use to define what is PFAS free? Because that also gets thrown around in industry while people are talking about how bad PFAS is and they don't understand short chain and long chain PFAS, etc. They're also throwing around the word PFAS free, and our EPA in the United States doesn't really have a true definition, but there's some laws in place in Minnesota, Maine, etc., that actually have more stringent requirements of what PFAS free is than even the EPA has proposed. And that proposal, while it's different than what the Minnesota laws are, Minnesota and Maine laws are, is a little bit wider, and it will allow you to use some fluorinated product in applications that the laws in Maine and Minnesota would not. And literally, the laws in Maine and Minnesota are the most stringent, stating that if they contain at least one fully fluorinated carbon atom, it's considered a PFAS. Effectively, there isn't anything less that would be fluorinated than one fully fluorinated carbon atom to be considered a PFAS. If you had less than that, it wouldn't be fluorinated. So when we say it's the most stringent requirements of what a PFAS is defined as, that's it. And that's what we're holding ourselves to when we say PFAS free with regards to the Omega and Zeta. All right. Once again, as we talked, BestSolv, as you've seen here now, as we went through the whole um, lineup, you can see why it is rated the #1 Novec replacement with the most comprehensive offering. So let's wrap up a little bit. As I mentioned at the start, the 3M Novec is a voluntary discontinuation. It's completely voluntary. There's no planned or future phase outs for these HFE products from the US EPA. There's no safety issues. The exposure limits from OSHA have not changed. There's been nothing from that end. It purely is 3M deciding to phase out from some of their manufacturing site issues from many, many years ago in previous generation products. The last order, as I rang home, is March 31st. And last production, they're scheduling for Q2 to into Q3 as the last production. So while they said it would go to the end of 2025, they may be done with it much earlier. So as I've tried to drive home, order submission doesn't guarantee fulfillment from 3M. They've really been specific with us to really highlight that. The BestSolv line for replacements, as we talked about, it eliminates the supply chain risk. You reduce your manufacturing costs by up to 30%, and it has the same characteristics in the chemical physical properties that were exhibited from the 3M line that people are so used to. And again, just to highlight, we have the exact molecule fluids for cleaning fluids. We have the exact molecules for the thermal fluids. We have some drop-in replacements for cleaning fluids. And then we have the new technology that we mentioned that is PFAS free, being the Omega and Zeta and BestSolv 7500 coming down the pipe. So if you have any questions, I can open this up for questions now, or if some arise after this webinar, you can reach us at sales@bestsolv.com, or just go to our website, bestsolv.com or besttechnologyinc.com. Either one will get you in touch with the applications engineer experts that can really answer stuff for you. With that, why don't we open it up for questions here? Let's see what we have. If anyone has submitted any at this point, I think people must have been listening to me continue through these slides before answering. So just give me a second to see if we get some more that come through. I try to cover some of the most common ones is what's the lead time? Am I really going to get it? And we hate to be vague here at Best Tech. We really like to give, #1, very honest answers. That's one thing that people really respect out of our company. But we really don't have good answers because they're coming from 3M and they're fairly vague because of the limited resources that are allocated from 3M at this point. So that's one of the most common questions that we get. And I'm being told that we're not seeing any posted on the simulcast platforms and LinkedIn and otherwise, which is great. Hopefully that means we've answered everyone's questions. Some other ones that have been asked in the past as we wait for more to come in here is with regards to I use Novec fluids and vapor degreasers. How is that going to be different? How do I need to set up my vapor degreaser differently for using an alternative fluid, whether it's BestSolv or something else? I can't speak for the something else end. If the boil points are different, you'd have to set your vapor degreaser slightly different in some of the settings. But the exact molecular placement, there's nothing that needs to change. You literally need to drain your Novec out, flush it out, and then add the exact molecule or the drop-in replacement, and it's ready to go. So some of the drop-in replacements are a slightly different boil point, and we can walk you through. We have actually a really nice FAQ on our website that tells you what needs to change on your vapor degreaser for settings in order to have it work with a drop-in replacement. But on the exact molecule, there's nothing that needs to change on your vapor degreaser. And likewise, in single and two-phase cooling applications, because all the physical properties are identical, those won't need to change either. So it truly is a like for like replacement, and we're really proud to say that. So. And let me note just a little bit, going back to the vapor degreaser comment, that when I say you need to slightly adjust it in your vapor degreaser settings with regards to a similar molecule, these boil points are very close. They're within a couple degrees. So some some settings in the vapor degreasers aren't even precise enough to dial into the very slight difference in boil point. But we're trying to be as transparent as possible. They do have a slight difference in boil point, so that your vapor degreaser may need that adjustment. Again, the exact molecules, there's nothing needed, but I just wanted to clarify that it's very minimal. It's not like you're having to change a whole bunch of dials and things to go to a drop-in replacement that we had designed. We did try to keep them really similar. So people are asking, I got a question here. We talked about dual supply and multi-sourced supply for the BestSolv line. People are asking with regards to supply availability for our products. They're all available right now. So we have them here, a warehouse in the United States, and we're selling them regularly. Lead times of whatever's in stock can be shipped within a few days. I think what our staff is saying as a week lead time, but realistically, it's just a couple days. And other products we need to get in, we already have the supply coming through, and we're blending it regularly to meet those demands. So yeah, if there's no other questions, certainly I'm glad or hope that I've answered them. When you exit the webinar, if you're registered here in Zoom, you'll receive a survey just to fill out some questions that you have. And I did want to mention for those that are still here in the webinar that we're able to supply you with a discount code for your first order of Novec, which is something that we're really happy to do as kind of a thank you for checking out the webinar. For those that are on LinkedIn and other simulcast platforms that haven't registered, those platforms should have a link that you can click on to sign up for that coupon code that you'll receive for your first order. So we really appreciate all those in the industries that have trusted us through this phase out. We'll continue doing these webinars here in the coming months to update you on supply availability from 3M, update you on innovations that we're coming out with. But we really do like the lineup that we have going forward for the 3M replacements. So I think we maybe have a question in LinkedIn. Let me see if I can get over to that. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm trying to get through any questions that we have. Maybe if one of our staff is in the background that can message it to me, it'd be appreciated. Let me see here. We had one in medical device cleaning applications. His best technology had performed any test cases using acute toxology and extraction chemistry, so cytotox, bioburden, etc., to demonstrate further proofs of the thesis that it truly is a replacement. Yeah, the answer is yes. Actually, we have a number of med device customers that have went through that. Some of our customers in med device, even though it's an exact replacement, they had to go through a fairly rigorous testing protocol, and some were able to, depending on where the product was used in the manufacturing stages, they were able to just drop them in and just do a simple equivalency validation. So we do have customers that went through those tests. Because they're from our customers, we can't necessarily divulge that, but we can tell you with confidence that they have tested those, and they've passed the regulatory approvals for cytotox, bioburden, and various other toxology testing. So hopefully that answers that question. I think that was from John, I believe, on LinkedIn. If our staff that's watching this can tell me if there's any more that have come in, I'd appreciate it. All right, I think that's it. Again, for those that are on the LinkedIn platform that are watching this live on LinkedIn, I appreciate you joining us too. We don't necessarily have your full contact information to share with you, the discount code for the first purchase, and we'd love to give that to you and get in contact with you. So if you fill out the form, I believe there's a link in the comments on LinkedIn event page. If you fill out that form, it will give us the information that we need to be able to send that to you. For those that are in Zoom here, that should be supplied here shortly. If you don't receive it, certainly reach out to our staff. Sales@bestsolv.com will reach our applications engineers that can help you out and provide you all that information. And of course, all the technical information that you desire to receive. We really appreciate everyone joining today and look forward to hearing from you on the phone, email, and in person. Of course, we'll see you on the next webinar too. Thanks and have a great day.